Hi guys, Jordan here. I wanted to take some time to talk about veganism, namely why I'm vegan. I'm going to give you a little bit of history about myself first. I became a vegetarian at the age of 6. No, I lied to you, at the age of 7, because Dr. Dolittle was my favorite movie, and I thought he made great points. If I don't need to eat these animals to live a healthy life, I felt obligated to stop doing so. Fast forward to about the age of 28, and I decided to become vegan. I became vegan because I watched a speech from a man named Gary Yourofsky. It's called The Greatest Speech You'll Ever Hear. Whether or not you think it's the greatest speech you'll ever hear is completely up to you, but he made some points specifically regarding the dairy and the egg industries that I found extremely appalling when I heard about what goes on. In regards to dairy, the way we get that milk is by preventing the calves from suckling from their mothers. And we literally separate the calves so they will not drink the milk that nature intended for them, so that we can take that milk from that cow and have it for us. Even though we, biologically, do not need cow's milk at all. No species needs the milk of another species that is meant for the baby of said species. So it's completely unnecessary in terms of our diet. And then when you learn about how they take the baby cows away from the mothers, and they will then, after the mother stops producing milk, they will re-impregnate that mother so she has another baby. And they will do that to her until her body is literally no longer able to reproduce. And then after that, she's sent to a slaughterhouse. So after all of these years that cow goes through having her babies taken away from her, she is not provided with any solace. She is provided with a knife to the throat or a bolt gun to the head, and that is a highly unjust thing to do. What you should also know is, after several re-impregnations, the mother, because her babies are being taken away from her again and again and again, literally loses her instinct to care for the young. And I saw footage at an animal sanctuary where a rescued mother and her rescued calf were there, and the mother was not caring for her calf because she had had her babies taken away from her so many times in the past. It reconditioned her mind. What a horribly unjust thing to do to another living being. In regards to eggs, in the egg industry, in the factory farming, even if it is labeled as free-range, cage-free, they are often kept in unsanitary conditions and in conditions in which they cannot be as content as what they could be if they were at an animal sanctuary. So there are two types of chickens. There are the layer chickens, layer meaning they lay eggs, and then there are the chickens that are bred for meat. The chickens that are bred for meat get bigger, thicker, bulkier. The layer chickens do not. So the male layer chickens, are actually ground alive because they can't lay eggs and they won't get big and bulky like the other chickens. So they are ground alive literally as babies, literally as chicks. And you can see this. This is standard practice. You can go and you can look up the footage yourself. It is horrible. And so these hens, the layer hens, are bred to produce more eggs than what is actually healthy for their body, evolutionarily speaking. So we've bred them to lay so many eggs, it really depletes their bodies of nutrients. Now, if you crack that egg and you actually lay it out there for the hens will often eat the shell of that egg to replenish some of the nutrients. You can also ask, well, what is wrong with if I were to get a hen for my backyard? And the concern with that is this. Let's say you buy a hen. If you're buying a hen, I don't mean adopting a hen, I don't mean rescuing a hen. If you are buying a hen from the industry, you are giving your money to an organization that commodifies these animals. And you're giving money to that same organization that grounds the baby male layer chicks alive and keeps so many billions of chickens in unsanitary conditions. Now, someone can ask, what if I'm not going to buy a hen? What if I'm going to rescue or adopt a hen, and that hen simply still has the capability to lay eggs? And okay, I'll crack some of them up and give them to the hen, but can I eat the other ones? Well, ethically speaking, I think the answer to that is yes. I don't think there's an ethical issue with that. However, if you're going to rescue or adopt a hen specifically for that purpose, then are you really focusing on giving the hen the best life possible? Let's make that tantamount to buying a dog and getting, let's just say there was something you could get from that dog's body. And the real reason you were doing this, you wouldn't be getting that dog just to be part of your family. You're only getting that dog for that thing they're able to give you. Now, are you really going to provide love, as much love and care to someone, to a living being, if you're getting them simply for what you can get from them, as opposed to if you are actually rescuing them to take care of them and give them the best life possible? So there's a thought. So the only thing I haven't covered so far is honey. And in honey, they actually take the wings, they rip the wings off of the queen bee, so the queen bee essentially cannot go anywhere. And the reason they do that is because the function of the whole system of bees only stays as is if the queen bee is always there. And just like with the other animals, if you are only viewing these beings as a commodity for what they can give you, then you're not going with bees. It's a bit different. I mean, generally speaking, you're not going to get bees to rescue them and to give them love and stuff. But the thing about bees is we simply don't need to get their honey. They have their own system. They build their own hives. They do all those things. And here we go. We take them, we put them in these little thin, if you've ever seen those habitats for bees that were created, we put them in those. We rip the wings off of the queen bees, and it goes right back to the same commodification. And what I want to promote is a worldview in which we don't look at other beings for what we can get from them. We look at them for, is there anything that we can help provide? Is there any sort of care that we can help give? And if not, then okay, we leave them be. If so, then okay, great, we help. And that's what animal sanctuaries are for. Which brings me to another point. If you've ever seen footage of a slaughterhouse and then seen footage of an animal sanctuary, the message should become crystal clear. Death, pain, fear, suffering, love, respect, trust. You see these two different environments, and to me, that is the most striking contrast that helps reinforce why I do what I do. I believe that we should create a world in which we lift one another up and we don't knock one another down. And with these animals, we don't have to knock them down. We can get all of the macronutrients and micronutrients that our bodies need from plants. And as soon as we realize that we are able to do so, we are now under an ethical obligation to stop commodifying and to stop providing all of these negative things into the lives of animals and instead be a force for good. And if there are things you want to advocate for within humanity, still do so. But 3 times a day, or however much you eat, choose plant-based options, and you will no longer be supporting the horrors that go on with animal agriculture and that whole industry. Some people have said, well, what about free-range meat? The thing is, number one, with free-range meat, you still have to kill the animal, so that's bad. But number two, unlike factory farming, which can be kept within a confined space, which is bad, I know, because the animals are not having proper living conditions then, free range, in terms of the animal's life leading up to death, the free range, the grass-fed, in which they actually have pastures and everything, that may be the lesser of two evils, but you're still killing these animals for their flesh. And not only that, it's highly unsustainable. You cannot make all let's just say grass-fed beef. Can we make it so that all cows are grass-fed and have fertile pastures? We actually can't, because there's not enough land on Earth. That would take a lot more land than what it takes now. Let me make one more point. The other point is that the crops that we grow, a large portion of those crops, I don't know the exact percentage, so please do look that up, and I will do that as well. I might make more follow-up videos in the future. But a large percentage of the crops that we make goes towards these animals for factory farming. And the problem with that is that it takes a lot more. The cows, the pigs, the chickens, they eat a lot more of that stuff than we do. So when we think, oh, well, we're just eating this amount of meat, But all of the plants that had to go into producing that amount of meat, we would have been able to satiate ourselves many times over had we simply gone directly to the plant-based source. So I might make more videos on this in the future, but veganism is something that I'm very passionate about because I think that there are very strong ethics involved with it. Thank you. I hope you enjoyed the conversation, and I look forward to reading your comments down below. If you would like to subscribe to my channel, please do so. Don't be afraid to hit that thumbs up button, and I will see you all in the next video.